With the weather getting warmer and warmer all the time, it's gotten me thinking more about getting ready for the travel season. An upgrade I've been meaning to do is leveling up my first aid kit. I've traveled with just a small backpacking first aid kit, but I knew I needed something a little better. And what better upgrade than to make a kit with a half-width Milwaukee pack-out. The kit itself is a decent pack from Canadian Tire, but it could still use some additions like some splints and maybe a tourniquet. Would I have rather have spent the money on some lighting upgrades or maybe even better speakers for the Bronco? Sure, but first aid in the bush isn't something to take lightly. Lexi, of course, made sure I packaged it all effectively into the pack-out box. So onto the roof rack. When I decided I wanted a Heritage Bronco with a white painted roof, I didn't really give much consideration to mounting the rack to it. My prototype Valkyrie roof rack sat in the closet since last year. When I stripped my Badlands Bronco of all its gear after the Swish-a-Loop, I noticed the mounting brackets wore into the black roof of the molded in color top, which wasn't a huge issue since the color was, well, molded in. I originally used some rubber gasket pieces I found online to help keep the metal brackets from direct contact with the roof, but this wasn't a perfect solution. I went searching online and found that the trail racks people use an adhesive closed cell foam on all their brackets, so after placing an order on Amazon, I found some similar 1/8" pads to use with my rack. While likely not as durable as the solid rubber gaskets, it should better protect the paint on the Bronco's roof, so long as the stuff doesn't abrade away from the constant movement and vibration. After cleaning up the swish of dirt off these brackets, you can see the powder coat worn down from the direct contact with the molded in color roof. The inside bracket's folded over clamp edge shows wear just on one side of both pieces. Obviously a manufacturing or design issue. The closed cell foam along this edge should help distribute the load across the full length a little better. The pieces I bought were available in 4" squares, which is fine. It'll allow me to fit and trim them to the odd shapes of the brackets. These outer brackets won't need 100% coverage from side to side. 2 pieces of foam should work nicely. I'll use this trim pry tool to ensure the foam is fully adhered down into the hook slot. Trim off the excess with the keen supervision of Lexi, with a somewhat dull X-Acto knife I might add, and onto the other brackets. Similarly, I want to ensure good foam adhesion into the 90-degree bend on the inner bracket, and for the footrest of the rack, I'll just finish it off with some scrap foam. Trim off the excess once again, and that's one side finished. As for the Bronco roof itself, I'm not 100% confident that the foam alone is going to protect the white finish from damage. So back again onto Amazon to order a small roll of 3M paint protection film. The first step prior to installing the PPF is a thorough cleaning of the area with some Groit's Garage paint prep. Since the truck is pretty new, I forgo doing any clay bar cleaning prior to the paint prep. The finish just hasn't had any time to collect any fallout. Some other things you'll need for a PPF install is some slip fluid, basically distilled water, and a bit of dish soap. I added this solution to my foam sprayer and applied it liberally to the roof. This allows you the freedom to easily position the film before pressing it into place. The other solution you'll need is a spray bottle with a diluted solution of isopropyl alcohol. This is used to help activate the adhesion on the film. Again, apply it liberally and lay it down on your soapy wet roof. More soapy water on top of the PPF will help the squeegee glide a little easier. I work the bubbles out by pressing and sliding out to the edge of the film, ensuring I have it in position I want. And right here is the number one reason why you use soapy water. With this piece slightly out of alignment, I likely would have destroyed the film trying to lift and reposition it. When you have a full vehicle done with PPF, it's dispensed from a plotter with the precise panel shape cut into the film, and it's simply a matter of placing it onto the car. With the roll I bought, I just simply cut two roughly sized rectangular pieces and went from there, knowing I'd have to trim them in place, which was the more nerve-wracking part of the install, I might add. Laying the X-Acto knife as low as I could to help get a straight cut, I put as little pressure as I dared into the blade as I scribed across, obviously not wanting to cut into the paint. I wanted to be as far from the curved edge as possible to prevent the film from lifting, but still have enough coverage that there wasn't any direct contact to the paint with the rack bracket. And there, that's one side done. Again, lots of soapy water for positioning, alcohol activated solution, lay the film down and position it. Because the outside brackets aren't symmetrical, I eye it up to make sure the PPF will be protecting the paint at the contact areas. I sized the film to overhang the outside cutout as well as the hook edge on the top side of the roof. I suppose I could have made a template for masking tape and transferred it to the unpeeled film to precisely cut the pieces beforehand, but the trimming isn't too complicated, it's just risky. Once all the bubbles and fluid are pushed out from under the film, it clings to the paint well enough to keep its position. I didn't want to roll the film over this tight 90-degree lip, thinking that this might be an area where contact with the bracket and foam would cause it to lift. I may add a separate strip to this vertical edge later, we'll see. Again, a steady, careful hand with the X-Acto and another side finished. It was such a beautiful day, I was feeling anxious to get the roof rack mounted, but then of course I thought, well, maybe I should see how long it takes for this PPF to fully set. Hey Google, how long does it take paint protection film to dry?
According to Signature Detailing New Jersey, they may take up to 14 days to fully dry and disappear. Never picket film. This may compromise the installation and/or adhesive.
Well, if you want to see the rest of this roof rack installation, you're going to have to come back next week or the week after. Like always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a week or two.